Hello, everyone. It's nice to meet you. It's Suga. It's been about 2 years. How have you all been? It's been a long time since I was called off today. It's a day I've been waiting for, and it's been a long time. So I had a lot of thoughts on how to say hello. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to the fans who have been waiting for us. I really missed you. I think I had 2 years to think about myself. In particular, I wanted to take a step away from what I had been doing for a long time. In the meantime, I have not been able to look back on myself because I have been running forward. But this time has been an opportunity to look back on myself. Dear Army, thank you for your patience and thank you very much. And I'm sorry for making you disappointed and worried about what happened last year. We'll get to that in a moment. Above all, it was so upsetting that it hurt the fans' hearts. I felt sorry for the members who must have felt heavy in their seats because of me. In the future, we will try our best to repay the love you have given us. I love you, everyone. I'll keep you posted from time to time. That was Suga the other day on the night of his discharge. So there's a few things I have to address before we get into this video. First of all, we didn't get a live stream of his discharge, which we had kind of suspected, but I was still waiting and hopeful for something. We didn't get anything on Weverse Live that night, which I kind of figured, but I was still hopeful about it. And that's okay. He does not owe us anything. I'll be here waiting for him whenever he's ready to go live or to show himself, whatever the case. One thing I have to address is the fact that he said, "I'm sorry for making you disappointed and worried about what happened last year. Above all, it was so upsetting that it hurt the fans' hearts. I felt so sorry for the members who have felt heavy in their seats because of me." Suga, you could never disappoint me. Okay, that incident, and I'm assuming he's talking about the scooter incident. Let me put this down for a second. The scooter incident, if he's referring to that, I have my own opinion about it. I think we all have our own opinions about the issue. The majority of us I feel like side with me. But what I want to address is one thing. Suga, you could never disappoint me. I think you handled that situation pretty well. It definitely could have been a whole lot worse. You could have gotten in a car and driven. You didn't. You were on a scooter on the sidewalk. You drove perfectly fine until you turned a sharp corner. You literally made it to your place where you stay. It looks like you just turned the corner too sharp. You weren't swerving. You didn't hit a sign. You didn't hit or hurt anybody. You didn't hurt yourself. You didn't smash into a car. You didn't get into a car wreck. I feel like that scooter incident was blown a bit out of proportion. That's just me. But if we're going to talk about this, I feel like we have to address this issue first. And that issue is when he says that, I want him to know, and he'll never see this, you could never disappoint me. You could never disappoint me. I don't always have to agree with you. We don't always have to see eye to eye. And that's okay. We all have different feelings, different emotions. We all think differently. But despite knowing all these differences that we have, I've never disagreed with you. I know we may not always see eye to eye, but in the year and a half that I've known all the boys, I've always stood up for them. And that'll never change. We could see differently, but I don't see differently. They've not done one thing to make me hate them or to disappoint me. Not one thing. But I can show you many things that they've done that make me proud of them. And I'm not talking about just the music or the hard work and performance. I'm talking about stuff like this that they've done outside of the music. The other parts where they're impacting people's lives outside of the music. For all the people who I've seen on TikTok recently who have shunned this man, I think that's the proper word, who have talked about him in a negative way. You know who you are if you happen to see this, because I've been in your comment section defending him. For all the people who were talking mess about him when the scooter incident happened, for all the people who have talked and said negative and nasty things about this dude ever since the scooter incident, don't switch up. You decided to stay on that side with all the hate. You decided to go a different route than the one where it involves us following right behind the boys. You decided to veer off and go a different direction. Don't switch up. Don't come back because he's doing some amazing things, or when he puts out all this fantastic music. Because I have a feeling that that BTS cipher is coming pretty quickly, or a cipher of his own. I feel like this man's got a lot to say. And the reason I say that is because he says, I'll keep you posted from time to time. That tells me if I had to get into that, which I'm not a rapper, I'm not a musician, I'm not an artist. But if I had to put myself into that rapper brain, that artist, that creative genius brain of his, I'll keep you posted from time to time means I'm in the booth. That means I'm working. I'd love to be here with all of y'all, but I got some stuff I got to get done. Whether it's this, music, or anything else, the man's going to be busy, and I think a lot of that involves music. Could be this too. Could be stuff just like this. This is a man who has done nothing but shown love and kindness and every other positive emotion towards everyone, not just armies, everybody. Meanwhile, fighting his own battles inside his own head, he's still been able to push all that beauty and positive spirit out to everybody else. So when you hear all his great music in the upcoming future, because it's coming and it's happening, don't switch up. Don't become a fan again when you were talking mess for the past year. I've seen the TikToks. Like I said, I could drop some names. I've saved some videos just in case, because I want to see what happens later when he starts dropping or doing beautiful things like this. How will you respond? Are you going to keep that same energy, or are you going to flip sides? Suga, you could never disappoint me. And I'm talking to you specifically, the boys included, but I want to talk to you. You could never disappoint me. And even though like I said, I know we may not always seem eye to eye, we've seen eye to eye since I've started this journey. You've done things for my life that you'll never know, and I'll never be able to repay you. But I want you to know that you could never disappoint. And it's stuff like this for the reason why you never could. There's nothing that you do that has ill intention behind it. Everything you do is with 100% out of the goodness of your beautiful heart, whether it's music or actions like this. And that's all I have to say. Shout out to Rena, who's been a big supporter of the channel for a long, long time. This video goes out to you, girl, who sent me a message on TikTok and said, "Hello, Martin, have you watched the Suga news today? I suggest you to watch from the High Boy. He read the article and explained it very well." She always keeps me posted. She's one of the subscribers that definitely keeps me informed. Things I should always watch. I've heard about it. I don't know the exact details, but I'm ready to get into it. Sorry for that long introduction. Sorry for the long introduction. But I just have to address some stuff so that we're all on the same page on where Martin sits on the entire issue of how do you feel towards Suga. My feelings are never going to change. There's nothing he could do. There's nothing that any of the 7 of them could do to change the way I feel and how much I believe in them. So let's not waste no more time. Let's get right into it. If you guys could please hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel, as all these things help with the channel moving forward. Without any further ado, let's get into the video.
Isn't this sweet? Just a couple days after his discharge, Suga is back with the pleasant surprise. And I gotta say, this is surprising yet not surprising. And I'm gonna talk about why very soon. So today on June 23rd, Seburan's Pyongwon, which is one of the most popular and famous hospitals in Korea, and BTS Suga announced the launch of the Minyoongi Treatment Center, which is a dedicated facility to support children and adolescents with autism spectrum disorder.
Wow.
Now, um,
Wow.
Suga is known for his generosity. And of course, BTS as a group is known for generosity, making a lot of donations, and doing all kinds of beautiful projects. But in this video, I'm gonna focus on Suga. Okay? So, it has become something of an unwritten tradition because in 2020 he donated to help Daegu, his hometown, to cope with the sudden COVID outbreak, and then in 2022 he gave 100 million Korean won to support families who lost homes to wildfires in Gangwon and Ulsan area, and then in 2023 when earthquakes devastated Turkey and Syria, he stepped in again with another 100 million Korean won for emergency relief for children. And
So hold on, is he not done?
just last year, he also donated to help communities recover from severe wildfires in the southeast region of Korea. Again,
Knowing all this stuff, this man just gave you a rundown. And it took a scooter incident for some of y'all to start talking mess about him. You've seen and heard all of this. You know of all this. And it took one incident. Because before the whole scooter incident, I didn't hear one bad thing about him. Since the scooter incident, I see nothing but posts every now and then about the boy. Lots of love. Lots of love. And it's not armies by any means. Let me address that. It is not armies who are doing that. Real armies aren't talking mess about any of the boys. Not one of them, not two of them, not three of them, not four of them, not five, not six, not one. Not one of them. Not one army. A real army isn't doing that. But despite knowing all of this, you talked all that mess. It took one thing to overshadow all the beautiful things that this man has done. And if you didn't know about these things, and you now know about these things, do you feel stupid? Like, is that just me? Can I say that? And I'm sorry to be such a negative Nancy today. I just get very emotional and I'm very passionate about the boys. And when I've seen the hate, I didn't want to believe it. And my subscribers have been telling for a long time that they get so much hate. And when you see it just on TikTok alone, and then you come to a video like this to see all the beautiful things for some reason just get overshadowed by one singular thing. And I don't understand that. Not for the life of me. I'll never get it. Look at all the beautiful, beautiful things this man has done.
again, other BTS members donated as well for this exact same
Of course they did,
purpose.
because that's
But
who they are.
again, in this video, I'm going to focus on Suga. So thanks for understanding. And none of these donations came with big ceremonies or anything or press conferences. Usually, the public only found out because the charity confirmed it afterward. And fans know that for Suga, this is a very quiet routine that he, each year uses his birthday. A day when the world's attention is already on him to redirect that spotlight to people who suddenly need help
Wow.
the most. But then I think today's news is worth of like press events and big ceremonies because it's pretty huge. So let's talk about it. I will.
And I don't want this video to be super long, but it's going to because I have to address some stuff. First of all, can we address how good the man looks? None of us have really been able to see him. I mean, he like hid away in some cave or something while he was in the military. He went and did his duty and minded his own goddamn business and went into hiding for like a year and a half. He just left us high and dry. I'm going to be real honest. He didn't mean to. He just went to go do his own thing. He didn't V was at least posting videos, dance videos, videos were surfacing of other people. Nobody could find Suga anywhere. That man was hiding. He was hibernating. It was a long winter, apparently. But I also want to say he looks fantastic. He looks absolutely stunning. He's glowing. Glad to see the man is looking good, happy, and looks damn healthy. I just want to say that man in a suit looks good. Anyways, but I want to address the fact that he said that none of these issues were ever supposed to be addressed. None of these donations, right? Not issues. These donations were ever supposed to be addressed. It wasn't until the charity had announced it that it was out there that Suga had donated money to a cause. He's not looking for any praise. He's not looking for any, I don't even know how you would say it. Like, he's not looking for self-gain by doing this. This was supposed to be a secret. He wasn't looking for the recognition. He wasn't looking for, like I said, that self-gain. What does he have to gain in any of this other than himself? He doesn't need it to boost his cred. He's not looking for more views on his videos. That's not why he did this. He's doing this out of the goodness of his heart, because that's the person that he is. Somebody who also goes through a lot of issues within himself, things that needs to be fixed and addressed, that he's been very open about throughout his music. I could see why he would donate to so many causes of people who are also needing help. And the fact that he does this around his birthday, a day that everybody, me included, I'm not going to say everybody, a lot of people, me included, selfishly are like, it's my birthday, it's my day, it's my day. I have a whole new way of thinking when it comes to my birthday now, because instead of being selfish like myself on my birthday, this man is redirecting that energy back into other people. Instead of making it a day about himself, he makes it a day about others. What a beautiful soul.
So let's talk about it.
What an amazing thing to do.
Translate. Let's read this article and then translate it, and I will talk about it in a more detailed
I'll try not to
manner,
interrupt as much.
At the end of this video. All right?
Okay.
So the title is Severance Hospital to establish the Minyoongi Treatment Center with the 5 billion Korean won donation. Severance Hospital and BTS Suga are joining forces to build a specialized treatment center to support therapy and social independence for children and adolescents with autism spectrum disorder, also known as ASD. On the morning of June 23rd, BTS Severance Hospital held a groundbreaking ceremony for the Minyoongi Treatment Center on the first floor of its Daejung Hall. Ain't that name sound beautiful? Minyoongi.
I just want to also note as well, sorry to get into pause, that's $3 million in U.S. money.
치료 Center, Minyoongi Treatment Center.
I think, yeah.
The center will provide language, psychological, and behavioral therapies to support the mental health of children and adolescents and run various programs that connect clinical practice with research. Even during his activities with BTS, Suga has consistently given back through donations and shown keen interest in mental health, psychological and behavioral issues, and especially adolescent depression. He has looked for ways to use his musical talents to help address these areas, and I'm going to talk about this later.
He definitely has.
In November last year, Suga got in touch with Professor Chun-gun a renowned child psychiatrist. I always get confused with the pronunciation. Psychiatrist. There we go. Professor Chun-gun, a renowned child psychiatrist at Severance Hospital. Through multiple meetings, he learned that children with ASD need tailored long-term treatment plans throughout their development stages, something that short-term interventions alone often fail to provide. I gotta highlight each paragraph so that to help you follow along. One of my subscribers asked for that. Okay, so we just read so far here. And let's talk about the Professor Chun-gun briefly. So, as the article said, she's one of the Korea's most respected child psychiatrists.
He's saying that right.
With decades of experience treating and researching autism spectrum disorder. aka ASD,
Shout out to her.
development disabilities, ADHD, and mood disorders in children and teenagers. She leads the Department of Child Psychiatry at Severance Hospital, and she leads the hospital's specialized center for developmental disabilities
Wow.
and behavioral improvements. So these are the areas that she focuses on, like bipolar disorder, ASD, depressive disorder, ADHD, tic order, and these are some of the papers that she has written or contributed to. And she trained at Yonsei University's medical school and completed advanced research fellowships at NYU and Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, focusing on pediatric neuroscience and brain imaging. And over her career, like I said, she's published influential papers, served as a key figure in Korean child psychiatry associations, and remains active in international research networks.
Wow.
Okay. And it seems like her treatment philosophy is rooted in a like family-centered care, like tackling not just the child's condition but also the challenges faced by parents and siblings. So she combines the latest scientific evidence with a like sort of a hands-on and compassionate approach.
So, yes, I want to address that issue as well, that kids who suffer with these conditions, whether he mentioned it, like it's depression, any mental health conditions, autism, whatever the case, it's not only affecting just the child or that individual who's facing those issues. Yes, it is. People always forget the impact that it has on the family as well, right? To go through these things with this person, right? With their loved one. It not only affects them, it affects those around them as well, right? Especially parents who have a child who that they're caring for, who's going through these conditions and stuff like that. It's definitely hard on them as well, and we need to address it as well. It's not only, obviously we're very, very worried and care about the health and wellness of the individual, but being a member, being a medical professional, as a nurse, I'm also taught and just have it in me, in my heart, to also care for the families as well who are also suffering through this issue. It's not just that individual, it's that individual and everybody around them who is affected.
Trying
I'm glad
to
that he
treat
mentioned that.
each patient as if they were her own family.
It's the
And
best kind
I
of
feel like this background is
best kind
exactly
of
why
doctor you could
Suga
have.
chose to work closely with her, as said by the article, because her deep, clinical expertise and proven commitments to both research and practical everyday care made her the perfect partner to develop a program that combines music with customized or tailored like long-term therapy for children with autism.
Yeah.
Okay. Now back to the article. Recognizing the need for a specialized treatment center that can offer consistent support for over a decade to bring meaningful improvements in ASD symptoms, Suga pledged a donation of 5 billion Korean won to Severance Hospital. And check this out. This is the largest donation ever made by an artist to Severance Children's Hospital and Yonsei University Health System as a
Wow.
whole. Man, BTS members are so good at making fans proud, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Now, MND program, a music-based social skills group. Following their discussions, Professor Chun and Suga began planning not only the new treatment center, but also a music integrated social skills training program for children and adolescents with ASD. Based on these ideas, they developed the MND program, a social skills group program that combines music with traditional training methods. The name MND is an acronym reflecting its goals, enhancing music-based interaction and sensory experiences, providing opportunities for interaction and communication, fostering networking building through community activities, and embracing diversity by respecting each child's unique qualities and promoting inclusion. So, music, wait, was it MND? Oh, sorry, it's MIND, Mind Program. Sorry about that. So MIND or Mind, music, interaction, network, and diversity. Okay. Children in this program play instruments, sing, write lyrics, and express their feelings and thoughts through music and writing. From March to June this year, Suga spent weekends meeting children with ASD and actively participated in developing the program. He played instruments like the guitar himself. Oh, this is so sweet. He played instruments like the guitar himself, helping the kids keep rhythm and harmonize, encouraging them to interact and express emotions through music. He also taught them how to play instruments on their own.
Wow.
Man,
Wow. Let
this
me let me say something real quick. And I want to cut back to what I was kind of saying earlier about him donating secretly in the past. Um because he doesn't need the recognition. He doesn't need that praise. He's not looking for that. He's doing this all out of the goodness of his heart. Let me say this. Some people could follow up and say, well, don't you think he's doing something as good as this to get back on the public's good side? You'd be like, what do you mean? Well, because of all the hate I've seen on TikTok, you'd be like, well, you heard him say like he's sorry for what happened last year and causing all of us to worry and stuff like that. And sorry for being such a disappointment. Don't you think that he did this as a way to cover up what happened last year or as a way to maybe kind of forgive him for everything? No, because he was doing stuff like this before. Don't give me that goddamn argument. Don't even come close to giving me that argument. If that's the person who has been hating on Suga the last year, if that's your argument, this isn't the celebrities that sometimes I won't lie, this has happened several times, I feel like, with different celebrities who have gotten in trouble here in the States with the public because they've said the wrong thing or they've done the wrong thing. And what do? There's been many times where celebrities will go and donate as a way to get back on the good side of the public. But it's usually their first donation. So it does look like they're trying to cover up what it is that they did to get on the public's bad side in the first place. Suga's not that person. Yoongi has been donating to different causes and charities and stuff like that before this issue happened. You heard it about it. I think he said what, 2019, 2020, 2022, and 2024. And now again, he has a long record of donations. And here in the States, you'll sometimes even hear some celebrities will donate to a charity and stuff like that, or they'll give back as a way of a tax write-off. He's not looking for, I don't know how everything works over there, but I can tell you this much. If it's similar, he's not looking for a tax write-off either. This is just who he is. Based off what we just heard, and we know what we know about Suga and who he is and what we know him to be, you don't think going in to visit with these kids, seeing the things that they're going through, but seeing the love that they have for music, you don't think he saw a bit of himself in them? That's probably why he donated. All these kids that he got to spend time with. Each kid that went by that he was spending time, moved to this kid, spent some time with him, interacted with this kid, spent time with him. You don't think he saw, I bet you he saw himself in every single one of those kids. And let me tell you something, as somebody who is a nurse and who has worked in pediatrics with kiddos and with also kids who have suffered with autism or suffer with autism and or mental health concerns, this kind of stuff brings tears to my eyes. This kind of stuff warms my heart because interacting and taking care and being a nurse for kids like this, I will tell you, them kids are already going through enough. And they know because of everything that they're going through, they don't have any faith in themselves. They don't believe in themselves. They believe their disappointments. They believe nothing good will come out of their life. I mean, you hear it all from their mouths being with kids like this. And all they're looking for is someone to believe in them. Here comes Yoongi. Here comes Suga to spend that time with them, to interact with them, to make them feel like a normal person. That's all they want. They just want to be treated the same as everybody else. They're not different. We all go through our different issues in our lives. But being with kids like this and having close experience with kids like this personally, they will tell you that they feel isolated a lot of the times, that they feel like they're treated differently. And all they want is to be treated equally like everybody else. They want to be seen as a person and not a burden, or, you know, as someone with a health condition. You know, they know they have this condition. They already are going through it. But they want somebody to believe in them. They want something to believe in. And for Suga to do something like this, he is that person for them. I'm not saying that their parents and close friends and stuff like that can't be, but they want someone else outside of those people to also have that same faith in them. And this right here shows that someone has faith in you. He was teaching kids how to play the instruments. Music has always been, and you will hear it all the time in nursing school if you ever get to go. Music is one of those things that a lot of people will use as like a non-medicated way, right? Alternative that doesn't involve medication to help through therapy, or, you know, with other situations. Music is a way that a lot of medical staff will fall back on, and it helps with a lot of different conditions. It really does. It's almost like Suga was picked, he was destined to be in this position, right? And he took advantage of this opportunity. Like I said, spending time with those kids, having that close interaction, probably seeing himself in them a little bit. That's why he did the donation. He was perfect for this, to be a part of this. And again, he's doing it all without wanting to have the recognition and the self-praise and or the praise and everything like that. He wanted it probably to be just secretive. But when you do something like this, it deserves to be addressed. It deserves to be noted. Even though he wanted it to be a secret, I'm glad that they brought attention to this, because not a lot of people are doing it, and he definitely is.
This is so sweet. All right. As the program progressed, the children's emotional and verbal expression noticeably increased. Their social skills improved as they learned to cooperate and wait their turn. For example,
The effect he's having on them.
old and 12-year-old boy who had shown little response during standard speech therapy sessions eagerly chose their own instruments and played in time with the groove.
Good. I'm glad.
And during ensemble sessions, I love how detailed this article is. They displayed a wider range of emotions. An 18-year-old saxophone player who previously showed minimal verbal or emotional expression began showing feelings through his facial expressions while collaborating with other kids, and reacted positively to the encouragement and praise from the therapist.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah.
This showed that the program could help even nonverbal or minimally verbal children with ASD build social connections. Nice. Going forward, the Minungi Treatment Center plans to further develop the MIND program and build a self-sustaining music project model. A structured training system will also be created to nurture specialists in each therapeutic field, ensuring the program's continuity and expertise. Once construction finishes this September, the center will expand its regular session offerings. It will provide music-based social skills training and various other therapies for patients with ASD and other developmental disorders. Existing treatments like applied behavioral analysis, ABA, and speech therapy will also be expanded to scientifically prove the MIND program's effectiveness. Clinical studies, academic papers, and a detailed program manual will be produced. Another beautiful photo. Man, he looks handsome.
He looks
the last
fantastic.
time we saw him was at J-Hope's concert, right? That beanie
With the beanie
and
on?
the big smile. Such a,
Yeah, he was covering his hair.
super cute.
He has
But
some
here,
hair.
It looks sharp. I love it.
He looks good. He looks happy and
Professor
healthy.
Chun expressed deep gratitude, saying, "Beyond his generous financial support, I'm sincerely thankful for Suga's heartfelt talent donation and volunteer work over the past several months. His steady, thoughtful, and sincere approach left a strong impression on me." 수가 씨의 성실한 모습에 깊은 감명을 받았다. She added, the ultimate goal of the Minyounggi Treatment Center and the MIND program is to
Sorry that the
help
subtitles are a
children
bit
with ASD grow into independent,
incorrect
healthy
at
members
times.
of society through music, while breaking down prejudices and improving awareness about the condition. True that. Suga shared, through preparing this program and volunteering with Professor Chun for the past several months, I deeply felt that music can be a precious way to express one's heart and connect with the world. He continued, being able to take part in the treatment process for children with ASD has been a source of immense gratitude and happiness for me. I'll keep doing my part so that more children can grow up as active members of our society. Nice. 지난 7개월간 청가나 교수님과 함께한 프로그램 준비와 봉사활동을 통해 음악이 마음을 표현하고 세상과 소통하는 소중한 통로가 될 수 있다는 것을 깊이 느꼈다. 자폐 스펙트럼 장애 아이들의 치료 과정에 함께할 수 있었던 것 자체가 큰 감사하자 행복이었으며 더 많은 아이들이 우리 사회 일원으로 함께할 수 있도록 지속적으로 힘을 보태겠다.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I like how
I
we switched
mean,
from English to, I'm
so
assuming that's
let's
Korean.
talk about this healing through music part. So for anyone who's familiar with Suga's music and discography, whether under BTS, August D, or Minungi himself, this new treatment center is less of a surprise and more of a physical manifestation of ideas that Suga's been, threading through his music for years. Like, I don't know, from BTS tracks to Suga's raw solo music like The Last, 마지막, and Amygdala, right? Amygdala is from his D-Day album, and The Last is from August D mixtape. He has
It looks like it's only on SoundCloud. I haven't heard that song yet.
About mental health and fear and the quiet damage that unspoken pain does.
Yeah.
And in fact, the entire group, BTS as a group, has openly talked about these issues before, like mental health, depression, and connecting with fans through those ideas. And, and also the healing is a big part of their music. Now, unlike
And I will say though, really quickly about him rapping and being so open in his music about like mental health and stuff like that. I will say that there are two artists who definitely come to mind. One a little bit more than the other when it comes to addressing, talking about their mental health and stuff like that. There are two artists that definitely come to mind, and I want you to keep an open mind with this first person. But the first person being the second artist that definitely comes to mind when it comes to talking about mental health and their mental health. Is kind of a little bit of Eminem. A lot of you may or may not agree with that, but for me, we grew up listening to a lot of Eminem. As crazy and as at times weird and all out there as Eminem was, being addicted, to drugs at one point, throughout all the craziness of his music, there are lots of songs where Eminem does talk about some of the own battles that he faces, deep inside within himself, how he feels towards himself, the thoughts that he has, and the battles that he faces mentally inside. He's number two. The main artist that comes to mind when it comes to talking about this issue, definitely, without even a question, would be the homie Suga. I mean, Suga definitely is very open about mental health and specifically himself. I mean, he definitely does talk about, in a general, conversation, about everybody needs to, address these things. But I think he addresses to the general public about mental health through the experiences that he's had within himself, if that makes sense. And he's definitely, if somebody was to ask me, when it comes to mental health, what artist definitely talks about it or focuses on it so much that it's the first, it's the first person you think about, it would definitely be the homie Suga. But the homie Eminem definitely would follow afterwards. And when it comes to them addressing their own mental health and stuff like that, they're the definite first two that come to mind. But the homie Suga, just the way he's able to portray his feelings and emotions through his music regarding his mental health is absolutely insane.
Typical
It's like you're
idol lyrics. Suga's
experiencing it
verses
with him.
often circle back to an uncomfortable
He just makes
truth.
it feel
And
so
by that,
real.
I mean that, there's rarely a quick fix for internal struggles.
Yeah.
What he keeps proposing instead is patience and brutal honesty, like with yourself, with your mind, and with your past. And in the last, 마지막, he should have confessed to being diagnosed with social anxiety and depression. And in Amygdala, I love this track.
Love it too.
He tells a
Love the
story of a
album.
personal family trauma in almost clinical detail, brutally honest. And this level of self disclosure, though packaged as rap, it operates like therapy in public. And maybe that's the point. His fans have said for years that his words make them feel less alone, not because he offers solutions, so to say, but because he names feelings that many people hide.
Yeah.
The amygdala is an almond-shaped part of the brain that processes triggers and fear, anger, anxiety. I love this track, and this is why the idea of a long-term autism treatment center backed by Suga, it rings so true. It's, well, first of all, I think it rejects any illusion that music or therapy can fix things overnight, as mentioned by Suga himself in the article.
Yeah.
But it accepts that real healing is supposed to be repetitive and layered, and sometimes frustratingly slow. Much like writing song after song to process the same fear in new words. And the mind program that this article talked about I think it's pretty clever in that regard because it takes the trust that kids often build with music, non-judgmental, playful space, and uses it as a bridge to harder work, which is like social interaction, emotional expression, and turn taking. And instead of asking a child to speak like when speech is hard for them, the program lets rhythm and melody to carry part of the weight. So for a musician and artist and rapper whose entire career is built on turning private chaos, internal chaos, into verses and beats, this is a very logical extension of how he himself makes sense of pain. And it's also worth noting how Suga's approached this in practice. Like I said, he didn't simply hand over funds, money, and watch from afar. Actually sat in the session, played guitar, tested the group dynamics himself. When did it say? Since this March of this year. So he's been doing this for a while. And in a sense, Suga's turned his role from idol to facilitator in
Yeah.
a sense, the same way that his lyrics often do for listeners and fans.
And that's another thing too is I again this guy just he does a really good job, Rena, for recommending this dude. I've never heard of High Boy ever. I do think I've been asked to react to some of his videos in the past, but I'm not exactly sure. But I will tell you that he does a really good job of explaining and going into detail about like in regards to this situation just alone. He brings up a very, very good point. It's not like Sugar's just sitting to the side observing from afar and is like, I'll donate. He's actually involved. He actually wants to be physically involved with these kids. And again, just another way of him showing, and doing something so beautiful. Like I said, these kids are already going through enough. Um, Music was a scapegoat for him. It was a way to help deal with his problems. And it sounds like, just from, you already kind of get it through his music, but if he can just use music to help others who maybe are going through things similar to him. And that's one reason why you could definitely relate to the homie Sugar, how many people he's probably saved, including myself, from certain thoughts and feelings and emotions. Because when you go through these things, you definitely feel like you're going through them alone. You feel like you have nobody and that nobody will ever understand. And then you get someone like him to come through and talk about the things he's going through, and it's relatable, right? He's this big idol that nobody's supposed to understand and nobody would ever understand. And he says, screw all that. I'm human just like everybody else. We all go through similar things. And I want people to know that they don't have to go through it alone, that there are other people who are experiencing and going through the same thing they are, right? And they're not alone. And that's how I feel listening to a lot of Suga's music. I don't feel alone. I know that there are others who have come, gone, and conquered over these feelings that maybe I was personally going through at that time. And it gives me hope, right? It allows me to know and believe that it can get better and it will get better. It's just going to take some time. But I love the fact that he's in here. He's involved with these kids. He wants to be hands on. He wants to be right there, front and center throughout everything.
Yes.
And I love that.
And of course, Suga, I'm sure, doesn't pretend to be a doctor, but he understands the role of an honest witness, like someone willing to sit with discomfort and wait for progress.
Speaking of the doctor thing, I thought I had heard somebody say, and I could be wrong here, somebody please help me, that Suga himself wants to be a therapist, that he would take classes for this, or he wants to take classes to be a therapist. Somebody let me know. Is that true, or is that just a rumor?
So, yeah, I feel like, I don't know. As I said yesterday when I talked about J-Hope, BTS is such a game changer, and they always raise the bar. So in the bigger picture, I think this move could shift the narrative around like celebrity philanthropy in Korea. Like instead of a one-off donation for image, it could be like a pilot for embedding art into structural mental health care.
Yeah.
Something that even state institutions often struggle to do well. And if the clinical studies and manuals succeed, this could become like a blueprint for similar centers where music isn't just a side activity, so to say, but become a therapy tool in its own right. Yeah, so I gotta say, the 민윤기 치료센터, this name, 민윤기 Treatment Center, is more than just a charity building with a famous name. And I hope that it becomes more than that, because it's a reminder of the same message that his music and discography has talked about for a decade. Like some wounds, some pain need time, and some people need like patient company of others. And sometimes the right beat says what words
I hear the car in the
can't.
background.
So, yeah, I love this.
I do too.
Let me know what you think about this whole update. Beautiful news. So happy that we've briefly talked about the message that he posted on Weverse on the day of his discharge on June 21st.
Yeah.
And how he chose not to do a Weverse live streaming, but instead deliver his message and also another apology through a written message.
Yeah.
And she got special. He didn't do a comeback with Weverse Live, but he came back with this literally groundbreaking news. Love it. All right. So as always, feel free to communicate your feelings, opinions. If there's any detail that's worth mentioning, but I didn't, feel free to fill in the gaps by adding. And then, as always, when we communicate, let's stay positive, respectful, and classy. I hope this project goes super well. All right? Peace and love. Bye-bye.
What was that last noise at the end, bro? Anyways. I'm going to double down and say it again. Suga, you could never disappoint me. You only make me and all of Army proud. And I want you to know that. You'll never see this. You'll never be able. I don't think you'll ever see this. What are the chances of you clicking on a boy from Lubbock, Texas reaction video to this beautiful thing that you have chose to be a part of? What are the chances of you clicking on it? Probably 0 to none. But if by some miracle you do happen to see this, I do want you to know that it's not just me. You could never disappoint Army. You could never make us worry, right? You only make us proud. And all we ask is that you continue moving forward, getting better, being happy, being healthy, living in the moment, and know that we support you and we got your back. And the love, unconditional love that we have for you and the rest of the boys will never change. I'm sorry that the last year for you has been difficult. I wish it wasn't. I wish that we as Army could take some of the pain, maybe a little bit of suffering and stress that you had to go through and take on that for you. But looking at this picture, I guess if I did have any worry, because I won't lie, maybe I did worry a little. I thought maybe something was wrong. And seeing this picture only makes me smile and happy to know that you're okay. And we're proud of you. Continue to do what you've been doing. And I can't wait to hear from you from time to time, apparently. I'm a little bit selfish, Sugar. I want a Weverse live. That was me. I wanted the Weverse live. I was ready. I was clicking at my desk. Nonstop. From 9 to 10 to 11 to 12. Whenever you're ready, I'll be here. That's going to go ahead and do it right there, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for a lot of the talking. I'm passionate. And there's some things that I had to get off my chest as well. So that's going to go ahead and do it right there. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section down below how you feel towards the entire issue. What comments, concerns, questions do you have in the comment section down below? And not without any further ado. And until next time, like, comment, subscribe. Peace.